First topic of the day. We are going to do three overperformers for this season and three underperformers for this season. We're going to go back and forth, one each. We're going to start with the overperformers. Tanner, you want to go first or you want to go second?
I'll go first. I only have three overperformers here. I found it hard to actually find like underperforming teams that I really felt confident in. So I have one like high level, really good team I think will overperform, one mid tier team I think will overperform, and then one low tier team I think will overperform. So we'll start with the high tier. I love Texas Tech this season. I love the Red Raiders this season. Guns up. They ranked 12th in Ken Palm, but they're a little bit lower in my ratings, around 19th.
Okay.
I think this is a team with top 10, top five upside. I love Grant McCasland, a guy who has outperformed his Ken Palm preseason ranking in all 9 years he's been a head coach, often by an insane amount. They are going to run the same offense they did last year, which was a top five offense. JT top in post ISOs, an All American candidate. Christian Anderson in top and ball screen sets. Anderson's going to have a huge jump as the backcourt lead ball handler. And then just catch and shoot opportunities on the outside where you have three great snipers in Watts, Atwell, and Bryan. And Watts can do more than that. He can provide a little bit of wing creation as a borderline point forward. The defense, I think will be a lot better than last year. Why? My guy, Luke Bamgoye, one of the best defensive big men in the nation, was the only reason that Ryan Odom's VCU defense worked last year. They brought intense ball pressure because Luke was at the rim with a 15% block rate that was second nationally. If you make him the primary drop defender instead of Toppin, the Red Raiders are going to be really tough to score on. And I think Luke has some untapped upside on the offensive end that he might find playing alongside an All-American candidate. I think Texas Tech is a sneaky Elite Eight Final Four squad.
No, I like that pick. Texas Tech was going to be one of mine. I think my first overperformer is going to be Kansas.
Yep. Hmm.
Really, really, really like this team. By the way, all six of my picks are from the top 25 guys. Like that's where I'm locked in on right now. We'll dive into the rest of the country later. Um, but Kansas is my first pick. I love the way they built this team around Darren Peterson. I've said it a few times, like, I wouldn't bet on it, but I wouldn't be surprised if we wake up in April and this team's in the Final Four. Like, I think Darren Peterson's going to be one of the best players in the country. I think they surrounded him with role guys that are willing to get dirty, aren't going to ask for the ball, aren't going to ask for the shine. At the end of games, we know where the ball's going to go. It's going to go to Darren Peterson, and he's going to make a play for himself or others. I don't think they really have to question things. I talk about Duke a lot. I think one of the biggest issues they had last year was who gets the ball down the stretch, right? And Cooper Flag,
That was their only issue last year. That's the reason why they got knocked out in
and
the
I
Final
think
Four. Yeah.
a lot of teams go through that, right? Like
Yeah.
even Duke this year, I look at my pick in Purdue, right? Like Purdue doesn't have that issue because Braden is so special, but in theory, they have multiple guys that can go get you a bucket, and sometimes it gets in your way at times, and you don't have to worry about that with Kansas. The ball's going to be in Darren Peterson's hands. He's going to make a play, and everybody's okay with that. And I also just think Bill Self's a phenomenal coach too.
Yeah. Also, probably a good time to buy low on self when everyone's sort of out on Kansas and they're considered a borderline top 25 team. These are the times that he wakes up and proves his coaching chops. I mean, he's one of the best in-game adjusters I've ever seen. So I'll go into my second pick here. Mid-level team. This is about a top, maybe a top 100 team. I think they're ranked in the 90s. I think Florida State overperforms. I like new head coach Luke Locks. I think he's going to usher the Seminoles into the modern day era after Leonard Hamilton ball went a little too far. Expect a BYU type of offense, pace and space, rim and three, drive and kick attack. I love the backcourt. Um, Jacksonville transfer Robbie McCray is one of the best dribble creators in the sport, an elite PNR creator. UMass Lowell transfer Martin Somerville, built in a similar mold. He really improved last season as a PNR creator, and it's one of the reasons why he was the American East Rookie of the Year. Also started the year as a pure catch and shoot threat. He's an elite catch and shoot threat. I think 40% from three, both off the dribble and in catch and shoot. And then you got Drexel transfer Kobe McGee and Bonnie's transfer Legie Jones, another two elite catch and shoot threats. Alongside Clemson transfer Chauncey Wiggins, who's a little bit of a stretch four. Defense will be sketchy. They'll try switching 1 through 5 and try pressuring and denying the gaps. I don't think it'll really work. I don't think there's a lot of athleticism here. But like they're ranked 91st in Ken Palm for a reason. I think I have them 96th in the nation. I just think this offense has a crazy high upside. It's going to be analytically sound. There are going to be shooters everywhere. This is not a one for one comparison, but I think it'll be similar to Chris Holtman's first year at DePaul. They jumped 40 spots in their from their Ken Palm preseason ranking because they were just organized and sound enough on offense to beat the teams they were supposed to beat. Then they were
Okay.
shredded on the defensive end in Big East play. I think that's probably what happens to Florida State, but I think they take a big jump in year one under Luke.
I like that. I also I like the sport more when Florida State's really good for what it's
Sure.
worth. I
Yeah.
enjoyed those really good Florida State teams. The Dwayne Bacon one, I was crazy high on. I was a little unfortunate they didn't, perform to the level that I thought they would. So I like that pick. My second pick is Tennessee. This is my favorite
Yep.
team in the SEC besides Kentucky. I think Kentucky is the class of the SEC, but I think Tennessee's right there with them. And I really, really love Jacoby Gillespie. I love Nate Amen. I think is phenomenal. I don't think Nate, like, we're not talking about Nate Amen enough. Like, he's like a top 10 pick in the NBA draft coming up. And we're just really not speaking on him at all. I'm not saying this is Rick Barnes' swan song, but every year could be. So I'm also not saying it isn't. And I think, yeah, I really, really, really like this Tennessee team.
Rick Barnes gives you a really high floor. I tend to think the ceiling's a little capped. I wish he would do something. I wish he would tweak his flex motion a bit. It looks the same year over year. I think other opposing coaches start to lock in on that. But they're always, super sound defensively. And they're coming off what? Back-to-back Elite Eight appearances, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so like I think I'm nitpicking them honestly. But yeah, Tennessee's good.
I think that's the whole point. I think that's the whole thing with some of these teams is like they are gonna unfortunately like nitpick, right? Like be
Yeah.
nitpick. I don't think you're doing anything wrong nitpicking Tennessee. Because we expect like why haven't they made that extra jump? And you kind of have to nitpick them to find out, which is also why I like them so much. If you have to nitpick a team, that means they're really good.
I just think that I've had the same nitpicky stuff with Rick Barnes for 10 years. And it's just like just do something a little bit different on offense, and I think you could really start to unlock that higher ceiling. But
Yeah.
the ceiling's already high. So I don't know. I mean, look, I'm not a head coach of Tennessee or in the SEC. What the hell do I know? But that's what I would do. Um, my third team. I had to get a little mid-major love in here, specifically a little America East love. You could read more about this team in my America East season preview for Mid-Major Madness. That'll be out either this week or next week. I'm still trying to put the final tweaks on that thing. It's a monster. But UMBC, the Retrievers, I think they overperform. They are just so I have a baseline set up for you guys. Sorry, give me a second here.
Yeah, no worries.
Dion, how's your job going?
Beginning of the school year, everything's like a little up and down. One of the biggest issues we've had is we can't find any uniforms for our girls' sports teams.
Mm, that's a difficult thing to find a solution for. I know damn well all about that because I got a daughter that just turned 2. She's into sports and she's already outgrowing every little piece of sports apparel she had. Thankfully, I know Clara Kate Creations. Clara Kate Creations was started by a former high school teacher who quit because it wasn't cost effective to send new twins and a 2-year-old to daycare. She found it easier to make girl sports apparel than finding it to buy. And I am so thankful that she exists because if we have an old shirt of Murph's that she's outgrown, we can send it in and she takes that piece of apparel that means something and upcycles it into an outfit that Murphy can now wear as she grows up. She makes great stuff. It's honestly kind of like your fullback's wife, Kyle Juszczyk. Is that how you say it? She does that. But honestly, I think Clara Kate's coming for Mrs. Juszczyk's job.
I love that. I'm a big Juice guy. Love his wife. Love Claire Kate even more than both of them, though.
You can send in your own custom ideas and she will come up with a design. She's just the best. Look up Clara Kate Creations on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and more.
They're ranked 296th in Ken Palm entering the season. And I have them 299th in my preseason rating. So they're a borderline top 300 team. Now, per Ken Palm, per his coach rankings, Jim Ferry is the nation's 20th best offensive coach. UMBC's offense will be good again. It was good last year, was really fun last year. This year, you have Josh Odunawu, who is one of the front runners for Conference Player of the Year. Super efficient interior offensive engine. Um, he just knows how to score. Unbelievable post player. Super crafty. Can pass the ball as a connector. Ace Valentine is going to be the up and coming point guard. He's just solid, rock solid on both ends of the court. ODU transfer Devin Caesar, Old Dominion, perfect fit for UMBC. The UMBC loves these tiny, speedy dribble guards to run their up tempo downhill rim attack and kick offense. He's going to score a lot. Jai Lakai King, another perfect fit for UMBC. A great season at D2 New Haven last year. The UMBC did really well scouting and pulling in D2 talent, and there should be enough shooting on the roster to maintain their 4-round one motion offense. I think you'll see more low major teams scout the D2 levels more aggressively in the coming years because there's been a lot of success stories, especially in the America East. Now, also per Ken Palm, Jim Ferry is the nation's 315th best defensive coach. And last year was a disaster because the Retrievers were the smallest team I've ever seen. They were miniature, they were minuscule. And so they were dominated in the paint and they were roasted on the glass both ways. UMBC finished the season with a minus 250 rebounding differential, eighth worst mark in the nation. But they brought in some real size on the wing and in the front court. D2 transfer Ball Green was a double-double machine at the lower level. I think he averaged 13 and 13. Old Dominion transfer Caden Diggs, who came with Caesar, legit 6'7" wing. They have two returning wings who stand 6'7". The whole season hinges upon Division II Palm Beach Atlantic transfer Jose Roberto Tonchin, 6'10", first legit big man the Retrievers have had in 5 years. At the lower level, fantastic two-way rebounder who can block a few shots, and you don't have to sacrifice much on the offensive end with him because he can step out and hit a few threes, 31% last year, and he's a dog in transition, elite in transition, 1.42 points per possession. It's 95th percentile. Ferry-led teams always pass, shoot, and score. If Tanchin pans out as a true big man that can play tons of minutes alongside Odunwu, UMBC is going to shoot up the ratings on proxy of just better rebounding and interior defense alone. The bar is so low that they are going, I think they'll skyrocket up the rankings. I think they're the second best team in the America East behind Vermont, and they're not being priced as that.
Okay. Okay. I'll be honest. I didn't know any of the players you just named. That's just
Yeah,
me.
that's fine.
Not a,
But,
I'm
but
not.
you know what? If you go and you tune into a UMBC game this year, now you do.
I promise you I will. So like but around my favorite thing to do is when like all those tournaments start early. There's
Yep.
always one 16 seed I like to find or like a 15 seed and I'm like that's my team. I'm gonna bet on them to upset the other team. UMBC is normally always like right around the top of like who I like in those stuff too. So
Yeah, because they high upside offense. They shoot a lot. Like I mean, the year they upset Virginia, that was Jarius Lyle's year. They were deadly offensive team. They were sick. They just haven't been able. They just haven't had no size to rebound on the other end. So if this
funny
guy
story.
pans out, they're gonna be good.
Funny story about that game. I watched UMBC play in the tournament and text my buddy they're gonna win a game in the tournament
Yeah.
and then immediately bet Virginia like 10 different ways. So
Nice, dude.
funny.
That's a stick to your gut, man. Stick to your gut.
My last team that's gonna overperform is one I think you'll agree with, Arizona. I
Yep,
is
yep.
Arizona team. They're ranked preseason at 13. I think this is a top 10, if not top 5 team in the country. I love this team. I think they're going to battle with BYU and Houston to be the class of the Big 12. If Houston wins the Big 12 and they come in second, like I don't think that's like a down season for them. I really, really like this team. I think they're built for March too with their size and athleticism and shooting and the defense. Like I absolutely think they're going to make a run. This is the year Tommy Lloyd finally does it, and he finally puts all the question marks to sleep, and also could be the year he just leaves, if we're being honest too. Because if the Kansas or North Carolina job opens up, who knows? I'm Arizona fans. I know you got mad at me last time I said he might leave. I'm not saying he will. I'm just saying Tommy Lloyd seems to seemingly always come up in these conversations. That's all.
Who we said? Did we say he was going to go to Kansas?
We
on
did,
yesterday's
yeah.
episode, we said Tommy Lloyd to Kansas. Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. I actually, um, I felt bad saying they were a sleeper pick to be a top 15 team when they're 13th in the AP poll. They're a sleeper team to be a top five team. Yeah, I totally agree. They're nasty.
I like this team. And then I
Yeah.
will just rattle off.
Well, you know what? Before you finish, I will say I think what'll be a fun little back and forth for us this year is the second place Big 12 team between Texas Tech and Arizona.
Okay, I like it. Oh, but we got BYU.
I like Texas Tech. I think you like Zona,
I like
and
Zona.
so yeah, that I think that'll be a fun back and forth. I think Zona's the third best team for sure,
Yeah.
and but that's a good battle.
So you're kind of out on BYU then.
I think BYU's just slightly overhyped. I mean, they're they're going to be really good, but it's not like I'm low on BYU. I'm just high on Arizona and Texas
Yeah.
Tech.
That's a
Really high on those two teams. I like how all the pieces fit together. I think there's a few more questions with BYU.
That's an absolutely fair take because I also think BYU has a low, low, low floor. I
For
think
sure, yeah.
they might have the highest ceiling in the Big 12 though,
Yeah.
as well. I'm gonna just rattle off three underperforming teams. We'll focus on the overperformers, but I'm gonna rattle off three teams I think will underperform. Florida, I'm not gonna explain that. I've been doing it all off season. I think everybody knows my opinion on Florida. I'm not a big Xavier Lee guy. I'm not a big Boogie Flan guy. I think the guys that they returned weren't the focal points of the team. I think they returned their 4 through 6 best players, not their 1 through 3. And then I think they added two guys that are like, okay. But I don't think they can replace what they lost. I also watched Will Richard play for my NBA team on Tuesday night. Really good player. Like really, 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 really good player. And I don't believe Boogie Flan or Xavier Lee are Will Richard, let alone Walter Clayton. Um,
I agree
same,
with that take for what it's worth. Yes, I'm a little low on Florida as well.
very low in Florida. St. John's, same thing. Like I same thing. I really like Ian Jackson. I like the team more when I thought St. On was going to be more involved, but he seemingly hasn't hit for them based upon the quotes that are coming out. And if you're going to start Osiah Sellers at point guard, I'm completely out. And
You
then
can't
my
start Sanon because he's a shoot first guard though. He's like a microwave candidate. You need a distributor. It's Darling or nothing, and that's the big problem with St. John's point guard.
and I don't know how much I love Darling either.
I'm a
Isaiah
big Darling guy. I'm a big Darling defender, but only on the offensive end. I think he could get eaten apart on the defensive end. Patino would have to hide him, but that's the problem with St. John's.
Isaiah from NYC is going to kill me for that. I'm sorry, Zay. My last one is Auburn. That speaks for itself. Speaks for itself. Respectfully to Auburn, but yeah,
Are you not a Pettiford guy?
I want to choose my words wisely because last time I did this, Sleeve Nash DM'd me on the side and said like the way I came off made it seem like I don't think Pettiford's a good college player. That's not what I'm trying to do here. I've said this a million times. If you could go to the NBA and your intention was to go to the NBA and you come back, there is something the NBA saw that we haven't seen yet at the college level. There is a distinct flaw in your game that was able to be hidden last year, that when you went through that draft process and got nitpicked to the highest level, they found something. I think the more games you play in your lifetime, the more you're nitpicked, the more they find your flaws, which is the more you have to develop. And if you look at the all-time greats, KD developed an elbow jumper, he developed a post game. That's how you offset them figuring out what your flaws are. I don't think Tahad Pettiford is going to do that. I think he's going to be a good to great college player. Like, I'm not trying to take anything away from him, but I think we will nitpick him in a manner we did not do last year when he was also a backup. Now you have the ball in your hands the whole time. It's your team. Your coach is gone, so on and so forth. All the best players are gone too. It's your show. And I just think he's going to get nitpicked to death. And I don't think it's going to go the way he wants it to go. I do not believe he's getting drafted after this year. I said it when he came back. I said if Tahad comes back, this isn't a 1 year thing. Tahad will be a 4 year college player, in my opinion, which there's nothing wrong with. Again, like I'm not trying to come off like that's an issue, but for Tahad Pettiford, that is not what he wants.
Yeah, that's fair. No pushback. I like Overton and Hall as defensive pieces, but this team's not going to be as good as last year.
I
Not
don't
even close.
I don't dislike their team, but if you're building a team around Tahad Pettiford, Stephen Pearl, then some role players, like I don't know that I think that's like a
Well,
top SEC team.
also outside of Pettiford, your two best offensive options are a D2 transfer and a JUCO guy who, hey, look, both could be really good, but They're also stepping up pretty high, uh, stepping up to the SEC.
Yeah.
So,
I'm not a big Keyshawn Hall guy either, though.
okay.